What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies? I'm back in the studio. All right, Bakari Sellers is a nut job. We got to talk about him losing his mind on CNN. Also, Karen Bass leaked cell phone call. A phone call should be the primary reason why she loses her reelection. Cambridge shooting went crazy. I didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday. We're going to talk about it today, that nut job in the middle of the street shooting people. Also, I don't know how to say her name, but Wong got caught up being a Chinese spy out in California. Surprise, surprise. And before we get to any of that, we have to talk about Mamdani's New York, the meltdown of anti-Semitism in the middle of the street. And I forgot, Marjorie Traitor Greene decided to move to Costa Rica. We're going to talk about it on the Officer Tatum Show.
I want everybody in this room to have that same spirit, that same identity carried in your life.
Make sure that you go through life and find your purpose.
And we don't do this just to get a pat on the back. We do it because we came here to win.
And it starts with you understanding that God has a purpose for you.
This is the time to be more bold than ever before.
We're all Americans at the end of the day, and we should love one another. We should be focused on what's right for our country. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, welcome back. I want to give a shout out to all of our members, especially our deputy chiefs. I appreciate you guys. The numbers are growing by the day, and I appreciate all of you for supporting at that level. But I also want to appreciate everybody that supported the SWAT level, the officer level, and the rookie level. Everybody's valuable to me. Everybody's valuable on the channel. And make sure that you tune into the comment section for the members and also members-only content. Some of you guys may know I interviewed Stephen A. Smith the other day. When we put that out, members will be able to see it before anybody else. So stay tuned for that. It was an incredible interview. I think it's going to be probably one of the most viral interviews that I've ever done. So stay tuned for that. Now, let's get to the first topic at hand, and I just got to throw this out here just because this was bizarre to me at face value. I'm not saying that Brian and Marjorie Taylor Greene is somehow doing something nefarious. I've never had anything negative to say about Brian Glenn. I thought he always been nice to me. That's her fiance. But I find it to be very interesting that Marjorie, I call her Traitor Greene, because she was in Congress leveraging her relationship with Donald Trump. Net worth allegedly went from $700,000 to $20 million. She's been crying about this country and America first, and all of a sudden she moved out of the country to Costa Rica. That's just, to me, ain't nothing wrong with going to Costa Rica. But when you're spinning your wheels saying that America is bad Trump, bad America, saying everybody's a traitor to this country but herself, and you leave the country to go somewhere else and put your resources, finances, and whatever you do with your future in another country. That's not America first, in my opinion, especially when you going that hard. I don't know. Comment in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think is bizarre? I'm all for people going on a vacation. I'm looking at the picture that they put up there. I want to go live there. But how did you go from a net worth of $700,000 to $20 million? You I love Donald Trump, I love Donald Trump, I love Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden things change. Now, let me say this. I want to make sure that I'm balanced in my perspective. Maybe, just maybe, it's just a vacation, right? Everybody online says she moved out of the country. Maybe, just maybe, it's a vacation. And this is a start of their new relationship and marriage and different things like that. So if she did move out of the country, red flags are popping. If it's just a vacation, it's just a vacation. But I will lose my head if I find out she moved out of the United States of America to go somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. Now, I want to make sure I'm clear. It's not confirmed that she moved. People are spreading it all over the internet that she moved out of the country, and this is her new start. But I'm not that person. I haven't confirmed it. But it just bothered me at face value when I saw it, and I said, that she better not do that, or I'm going to blast her. And when I say blast, I'm just going to call her out on it. That's it. Do I dislike Marjorie Taylor Greene? No, I don't know her as a person. But the stuff that she said about Donald Trump, the stuff that she's spewing about Israel, it's just so disheartening to me, because I'll tell y'all this quick story and then we're going to move on. I met Marjorie Taylor Greene before she ever ran for office. I thought she was a very nice Southern woman that had the spirit of changing the country just like all of us had. And to see her now take these positions that she's been taking has been very disappointing. And I know I get hyperbolic because that's just my personality, but it's very disappointing to see that. I do not believe that Donald Trump is doing anything that crazy in our country that people should turn on him and act as if we don't put no respect on his name, like he didn't risk his whole life to make sure that we have a country. And I'll add this component too, is that it's not just that we have a country, it's that if somebody else would have won, we wouldn't have nothing. This would be the end. Let's move on to Mamdani's New York City. This just happened, I think it was yesterday, where you had these nut job leftist lunatics who are literally trying to take over our country. These people are Islamists who, in my opinion, deserve to, if they're not citizens, they need to be kicked out of our country. This is one of the most dangerous ideologies, most hateful ideologies that have ever existed in the United States of America. I would say even more dangerous and hateful than the Ku Klux Klan. And how are some people not bringing this up? You don't have to like Jews. Nobody say you gotta like anybody. I don't believe in people being anti-Semitic, which means that you just hate them for no reason. But you don't have to like anybody. Nobody told you gotta like people. But when you have a group like that, that's literally calling for the end of the United States of America, calling for hatred and discrimination against a group of people because of their religious ideology, it's wrong. All right, Sam Harris had something incredible to say that I think puts a bow on this whole Mamdani, New York protest that happened the other day. Roll the clip.
The left has been successfully manipulated by Islamists and apologists for Islamists. In certain cases, this is a knowing alliance, and in certain cases, just frank manipulation, and people on the left are morally confused. You know, I don't think someone like Hassan Piker is confused. I think he knows exactly what sort of alliance he has, and I think that's true of Mamdani, too.
Do you think Mamdani is an Islamist?
Certainly an apologist for Islamists. The fact that he can't quite figure out what's wrong with the phrase globalize the Intifada, and that the worst he'll say of it is that he doesn't use that language, nor does he encourage it, but he's not going to condemn it. He's a proud DSA member. You know, they were out on October 8th supporting Hamas. There's just no way that should be possible.
Yeah.
And there's no way that anyone who's got that level of callousness and confusion being charitable, should be running a major American city, right? Much less being the poster boy for the future of democratic politics. So, I mean, there's something very sinister about the way Islamists have spread their ideology through the West and targeted liberals.
And some conservatives, as you know exactly what I'm talking about. You won't see them criticize this behavior that I'm about to show you. Roll the clip.
An anti-Israel mob clashing with counter-protesters near a synagogue in Brooklyn, New York, ending with the NYPD making several arrests. It comes on the heels of another chaotic demonstration last week in Manhattan. Nate Foy is live in Brooklyn. He's got more on this story for us. Nate?
Hey, Sandra. Yeah, this is the second time we've seen a similar protest in 7 days. And the NYPD tells Fox this morning they took 4 people into custody after an anti-Israel protest that started right here at this Jewish center and synagogue in Brooklyn. It then spread throughout the rest of this predominantly Jewish neighborhood. The protesters were interrupting an event advertising real estate in Israel in the West Bank. At times, the protest turned violent, forcing police to step in. Take a look. Sandra, this is the same exact group who clashed with police outside a synagogue last week in New York City's Upper East Side, chanting Israel should not exist and Palestine will never die.
Now think about this for a minute. You got people protesting in America defending 2 different countries that's not America. Isn't that weird? Now, I lean more towards supporting the Jewish people because they're in their community, they're doing their own thing, and these nut jobs come up and harass them and try to shut down their events. But let me tell you what you don't see. And if you got it, show me. You don't see Jewish people going and intentionally going into cities where there's Palestinians wearing their swirls and doing all this stuff and antagonizing and assaulting people and calling death to Islam. These people are minding their own business. And the nut jobs come over into their community. The same ones that say globalize the intifada, which means that they want to take over the entire world, even the United States of America. I rarely see Jewish people that complain about being an American. But I cannot, it's endless at these people, these Islamists that complain about being an American, that hate America. Let's go to the city council woman, her comments. Roll it.
Republican New York City Councilwoman Vicky Palladino posted on X, quote, "This is what New York now has to look forward to, and it's going to get much worse for Jews, for homeowners, for businesses, for executives and banks and restaurants and everyone who isn't part of their radical nexus. Nobody is safe. Everyone will be targeted." Palladino also criticized New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani, saying New Yorkers are now getting what they voted for and that he was elected to facilitate this kind of chaos.
100%. Now, let me add this component to it, and you guys can play this as B-roll, but let me add this component to it. All of the people that I know that are very wealthy and successful that lived in New York, they either have moved or they're going to move. And I've seen Ken Griffin, I've seen Jamie Dimon, multi-billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar real estate, where they're moving out of New York and moving to Florida. I saw a video where Ken Griffin is building like a $5 billion building so they can be headquartered in Florida. And they're literally going to leave and have virtually nothing to do with New York. It is crazy what's about to happen in New York, man. And now you got these ragheads in the middle of the street talking about Allah Akbar. Like, you know, this is the thing that bothers me, man. Like, in America, you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. But there's no other group trying to thwart others' expression of faith. There's no other group that are literally out here trying to take over, where they're going through Jewish neighborhoods trying to cause fights and issues. You rarely see that they want to pray in the middle of the street, blocking traffic. Allah Akbar. I don't see any other religious group in America doing that but them. I'm just saying, y'all need to be watching out for these people, man. Y'all need to watch out for them. I saw a guy was at the UFC. I was at Zuffa Boxing. Shout out to Zuffa Boxing, Dana White. I was at Zuffa Boxing over the weekend. I was in the VIP, and I saw a guy in the corner kneeling and putting his head on the ground. Now, my thing is this. He was in the corner. He's doing his thing. Nobody's seeing him. I thought he passed out, so that's the only reason I was looking for him. He in the corner doing his thing, man. That man can worship God, the God he want to worship in that way. It's the ones that trying to be out in the middle of the thing doing the Allah Akbar. Somebody in the middle of the fight doing Allah Akbar. They want to block traffic doing the Allah Akbar and stuff. Those are the ones that I think that you should be questioning. Speaking of manipulation in this country, here's a spy in California that was a freaking Chinese, a person in California who was a mayor that was a Chinese spy. You know how crazy that is? And I believe this is way more prevalent than any of these other countries having influence in America. And I believe China is probably the culprit. I don't really know of any Jewish spies that have been caught like this. What's his name that worked in Congress? His driver, his girlfriend was a Chinese spy. Then you had the driver for Nancy Pelosi, who was for 20 years was a Chinese spy. And then you got this mayor of California, which was potentially a Chinese spy. Roll the clip.
SoCal mayor by day, secret Chinese agent by night. Bombshell charges rocking a Southland city after its mayor suddenly resigns her post and agrees to plead guilty to federal charges of being a foreign agent of China. And this stunning revelation coming just as President Donald Trump is set to travel to China this week to meet with China's President Xi Jinping. Eyewitness News reporter Liz Nagy live in Arcadia with more on what's next for this former mayor and the city she served. Liz.
Mark, the city of Arcadia is temporarily without a mayor tonight. Eileen Wang turned in her resignation here this morning, just hours before a federal plea deal was made public that revealed Wang was doing the bidding of the Chinese government.
Eileen Wang's bilingual campaign ads meant to cater to the Chinese American constituents in Arcadia were ripe with promises for elected office.
Homeless issue.
But before she swore an oath to serve, the U.S. Justice Department now says Wang was spreading propaganda for the Chinese Communist Party.
I cannot say that the outcome was entirely surprising.
Councilwoman Sharon Kwan says she tried in chaotic city council meetings to raise suspicions of Mayor Wang's actions, but faced resistance.
It's just very important to protect democracy here. And so, and just to ensure that there's no foreign influence.
A guilty plea from Wang unsealed in federal court in downtown LA today confirmed prosecutors charge that Eileen Wang was operating as a foreign agent for the Chinese government, circulating propaganda on the website U.S. News Center. Wang, prosecutors wrote, received and executed directives from PRC government officials to post pro-PRC content on the website.
I wonder how many more people are doing this stuff. I wonder how many more people are doing this. They swear that Israel paying me, boy. No, but what about these people that's actually doing this? How many more people are getting paid by foreign governments to push propaganda? I want everybody to get caught. If Israel is secretly paying people to do propaganda, they need to be prosecuted, especially if it's illegal. They illegally doing it. They need to prosecute these people and display them and put them for everybody to see. There's nobody that should be pushing any agenda for any country except the United States of America. And I even think you shouldn't be pushing an agenda for America either. But if you're going to be pushing an agenda, you're going to be supporting a country, you need to support your own country, unless you're a traitor. Anyway, let's continue. 202.
Arcadia has a large Chinese American community, and so it's concerning when someone is in that position of power who has previously, at the very least, acted on behalf of China.
Earlier this year, Mayor Wang's former fiancé and campaign manager was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison on similar charges.
I think there is no coincidence to the timing of that.
Eileen Wang's plea deal with U.S. prosecutors, arranged last month but unsealed today, comes as President Trump prepares to head to Beijing for high-stakes talks with President Xi on Wednesday. Criminal defense attorney Lou Shapiro points out,
I think he's trying to use this as an opportunity to show them that we are onto you, that you may think you're getting something over of us, but we're not going to let that happen.
Now, Eileen Wang is likely heading for years in federal prison, leaving a city with majority Asian Americans tarnished.
I think this is the conduct of one individual, and I think Arcadia has a long history of really taking pride in the community.
City Council will choose a new mayor to fill that role ahead of a November election 1 week from tomorrow. Eileen Wang could spend up to 10 years in federal prison.
All right, let's get to the clip. We're going to roll it.
The feds say that mayor here in California operated a bogus website that pretended to be a news source for the Chinese American community, but instead promoted propaganda on behalf of China. The federal plea agreement says Eileen Wang took directives from the People's Republic of China on what to post on the fake website between 2000 and 2022 before she became a council member and ultimately mayor of Arcadia. For example, in 2021, Wang reposted a pro-Chinese essay that read, "There is no genocide in Xinjiang. There is no such thing as forced labor in any production activity, including cotton production. Spreading such rumor is to defame China." Well, right after the article was shared on her fake website, a Chinese official messaged Wang and others in a group chat saying, "So fast. Thank you, everyone." Federal prosecutors say Chinese officials had such fine control of the website that they would even message Wang and others about specific paragraphs or edits they wanted in articles, all to make the PRC look good.
That is crazy. That is insanely crazy. Now, obviously, it didn't have a tremendous impact, but people are still doing that. And if you do it, you got to go to jail. Let's get to the Cambridge shooting with this nut job who decided to shoot randomly in traffic. And the crazy thing is, man, these people are career criminals who do these things, violent criminals. They should be in prison. And they slapping these people on the wrist and they going out and doing this stuff. Roll the clip. Pause. Thank God that dude suck at shooting. He don't got no platform. He don't got no trigger control. That's why I don't think nobody died in this situation. Yeah, he gets shot. I guess they barely missed him on the top of the head. Let's roll that clip back so you can see it so I'm not running my mouth during the clip. But thank God he don't know what he's doing because this could be catastrophic. Somebody did this in traffic, but roll the clip. So it looked like somebody actually shot at him, but they missed him, which I don't know how that's, well, maybe they're at a long distance, they missed him, but what a nut job. Roll the clip from CNN. That 223 must have hit him in the hip bone because he laid down there for a minute. I don't think he passed away. I think they took him into custody, and he's at the hospital wasting taxpayer dollars to recover. I think they should have just left him out there for the animals to get him. What a crazy nut job. And my brother here, my brother from another mother, West Side America, decided to make a video, and I thought it was an incredible video. And he kind of gives a summation of this guy in an entertaining way.
America, we got a problem on our hands. Big problem. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, a career criminal named Tyler Brown, already on probation for stabbing someone and intimidating witnesses, walks up and unloads 30 rounds from a rifle at passing cars, shooting at innocent people like it's a video game. Because in 2021, this thug fired 13 shots at Boston police officers. A Democratic judge only wanted to give him a slap on the wrist, 5 to 6 years. That's it. Now, the DA wanted more, but the judge said, nah, just give him mental health treatment and let him walk early. What in the hell are we doing in this country? This guy's a psychopath. Keep him in jail. Why are we doing prison reform? Jay-Z, you done yet? Some of us don't want to get shot at. Whether it's a Democrat judge, a Democrat DA, or just Democratic policies. They're out here freeing predators over and over again. All this reform is garbage. All it does is get cops shot at and families terrorized. It's insanity. This isn't an accident. This is their plan. Defund the police, empty the jails, and blame the guns. But never blame the criminals that they keep releasing. How many more innocent people have to die before we wake up? We need to vote these Democrats out first and foremost. And I say it's time we lock up some of these judges, throw away the key, let them learn a lesson. Because obviously the Democrats have lost their cotton-picking mind.
He couldn't have said it any better. Or I couldn't have said it any better than that. I do think we need to hold judges accountable, and there has to be some discretion. You know, you have a person that's a hardened criminal, and you don't use regular precedent when sentencing somebody, and they get out and kill people. Like, the cops did their job. But you know, there's what you call where you have immunity. So that means judges have immunity. So you can't do anything to them. They make a bad call, and I understand in part why judges should have immunity, but some things are past immunity and more negligent. When you got a guy that has shown and exhibited clear signs of violence, shooting at police officers and everything like that, that person needs to go to prison for a very long time. And if they have a mental health evaluation, they need to be completely a solid individual to re-enter into society. Kayleigh McEnany had a couple things to say on Fox News, wrote a clip.
So it is time for the legislative branches to step up and find a way to put a check on the judicial branch. So how do you deter a problem? The problem is judges. You can deter them by impeaching them. The federal legislature can impeach federal judges who derelict their duty. Many states, you can do the same thing, state legislatures. Not only that, Tim Sheehy has legislation called the Jail Act to help deter some of this activity by allowing people to bring civil actions if a judge, let's say, lets someone out on bail and commits an offense, because the data is there. And you can see it from the United States Sentencing Committee. In an 8-year study that they did, 63.8% of violent offenders in 2010 who were released were rearrested. Same number, 63.8%, right about there in 2005. So people commit crimes again. That's why we depend on judges to put in the right sentencing. They're not doing it. So we need to look at deterrence, impeachment, civil actions. It's time for the legislature to step up because this cannot keep happening.
I couldn't agree with her more. You got to put these judges are feeling they don't have to, the judges don't live in the neighborhood. They'll never get shot by this person. They'll never see this person. They don't work. They're not the same grocery stores as this person. They have no connection to they don't have to arrest this person again when they're doing anything. They don't have to communicate with them or nothing. They sit in the courtroom and they go, oh, I feel bad. You know what? He didn't have the life that he should have had. His parents didn't love him like they should have loved him. You know what? He shouldn't be treated that harshly. And then he's out committing crime. And then that judge that didn't sentence him properly is not the same judge presiding over his other cases. So that judge couldn't care less. And that needs to stop. Hold these people accountable, man. When a person is exhibiting violence, it's funny because y'all may not know this, but when you're a cop, you know what it is. You know that you're like, this person they're gonna be a habitual offender. Like, we know it when we arrest them. How does the judge not know that? How are the prosecution and defense, defense don't care, but the prosecution not know that? How are these people not knowing that? It's pointless to have a police department if you're not going to arrest or you're not going to hold anybody accountable in the court system. You can go out and arrest 75,000 people, and all of them could be murderers. If you don't sentence them to prison, appropriately remove them from society, you might as well not even arrest them at all. What you're doing is ruining their record. You're letting them back out on the street. They can't get a job. They commit more crimes. And then you give them back on the street, let them do that, they commit more crimes. With all those felonies, they can't get a real job anyway. So it's just a cycle. Instead of saying you committed the crime the first time, you need to be rehabilitated. We're going to put your butt in prison for an extended period of time. And you have to take classes, and you have to do recidivism reduction training. You got to do all of that stuff. You got to learn a trade. You're forced to do it. You get 1 meal a day. We're not feeding you 3 meals a day for you to sit in your cell all day. We're not doing that. If you can't think and you can't function right, that's fine. You shouldn't be in prison. You want to eat 3 meals a day, you go eat me 3 meals a day at home. You don't need enough food in your body to lay down and get up out of that bed in that room and go out on the yard for 1 hour. I don't understand. People that ain't in prison only eat once a day and they fine. How y'all getting 3 meals a day? 3 hots in a cot. It's crazy. All right, let's get to Bakari Sellers with his sorry self. Before we get to Bakari Sellers, I want to talk about Synergy real quick. As you guys know, I drink Synergy every single day. I just talked to the formulator today. We went to lunch. And we're coming out with a new supplement, which is going to be our hydration drink, which is absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to give my ingredients away because I don't want anybody trying to steal an idea. But this is the one-of-a-kind energy drink. Hydration drink. There's nothing on the market like it. Nothing. We're going to be releasing that soon, but make sure you get you some Synergy day and night, synergylife.com. All right, Bakari Sellers, roll it.
Court order blocking Alabama from pursuing new congressional maps. The practical impact of that decision is that Alabama can move forward with redistricting efforts, having passed new maps on Friday. That sets the stage for Alabama to get rid of one of 2 largely black congressional districts before this year's midterm elections. The decision follows a Supreme Court ruling in April that struck down a majority black U.S. House district in Louisiana as unconstitutional.
Let me put this in perspective for you, because you got your friends out there that's crazier than 2 left shoes on an 8-legged man. They're not, this is one thing that people have to understand. Just because it is disparity does not mean discrimination. I want people to, let me say that again. Just because there's disparity does not mean that there's discrimination. Just because majority black districts are eliminated don't mean they did it because they're black. Black people are silly enough to only vote for one party. So whatever negative consequences happens against the Democrat Party, black people are most affected by it because they're too silly to diversify their vote. I'm not saying every black person. I'm talking about these silly ones that vote for one party for no reason. So when we talk about some of these redistricting, it's not redistricting based on race. It's redistricting based on political affiliation. And if you're too silly to diversify your vote, then that's you. Maybe you should get isolated. If you were diverse, then a lot of black people would benefit on the Republican side, and the black people that are Democrats wouldn't benefit. And you would have a balanced benefit to non-benefit ratio. But you're silly, like Bakari Sellers. Roll the clip.
I think everybody should take confidence in the fact Supreme Court basically supported one vote, one person, guaranteed in perpetuity. And the rest is just map wars. And I think we should get used to it. And I think it's, as you said, a state-based situation. Add this to the mix. At the end of the day, the state decides at the state level. It's in the Constitution. Get over it.
So the problem with that sentiment is that you were born in 1954.
Yeah.
Okay. You're
Very popular.
You're 71.
Yeah.
Right. In 1954.
By the way, I'm a vampire. I'm never gonna die,
during your lifetime, we've actually had Brown v. Board of Education.
I remember.
Yeah, Brown v. Board of Education. I don't know how you remember it. I think you were like 2 months old. But I'm not finished yet. Let me finish.
You see how condescending Bakari Sellers is. I don't know how you remember. A stewhead. It's not like Brown versus the Board of Education happened when he was 2 years old and it disappeared out of thin air. Hey, dummy. He was a kid when it happened, but it was fresh and people were talking about it, and it was recent legislation or a court proceeding. We say a precedent was set. It was recent when he was younger, far more recent than it is today. So he was closer to the conflict from the Supreme Court than we are today, and that's why he said he remembered it. Bakari Sellers, you weren't even alive. So how are you even talking about it if you claim he couldn't even remember it and it happened in his youth? Roll the clip.
Yeah, because you're still alive, right? And so there's an entire generation of people. Brown v. Board, it overturned Plessy v. Ferguson of 1896. My point is that my mother was born in 1951. She desegregated schools. My father was shot in the civil rights movement. Those people. I'm going to finish because you're being utterly disrespectful.
Not at all.
So I'm going to finish this comment. So what I'm telling you is that there are people in this country who fought, died, and bled for the right to vote. Don't be a dick. Just understand.
Bakari,
just
please.
I'm not
understand.
a dick. I'm pointing something out to you. The Constitution is being upheld. Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with the Constitution of the United States of America?
Bakari, I'm going to stop you because I just want everybody to reset with a modicum of respect at this table. Please stop.
I want you to understand that there is a
Mr.
price.
To you,
there is a price that was paid for this right. There is a price that we uphold, and whether or not you value that, whether or not you value that or not. There are people who bled, sweat, and died and were imprisoned for access to the ballot box. And what we're seeing throughout the South is that their voice, their vote, their representation, and people who have lived experiences to represent them are not being sent to Congress or where they need to go.
Put them back on the screen. Y'all have them too both of them on. Like, I want you to put him and Mr. Wonderful on there, whatever his name is. Let's talk about this for a second. This is what I talked to Stephen A. Smith about in the interview. You look at the black folks that are on CNN right now that are presenting themselves as kind of like a representation for black people. Why are they all stupid? They like maybe they'll have one. That's not enough representation from black people that you wouldn't leave this thinking, why are all the black people dumb? You know, first of all, the financial disparity between the two of these men is astronomically different. It's astronomically different. The white guy is probably close to being a billionaire. Bakari Sellers is probably not making nothing but $1 million a year, if that. So these guys' financial situation is so different. But then also when you listen to their arguments, Bakari Sellers is arguing something stupid. He's trying to allude to the fact that black people somehow don't have a right to vote anymore. That's insane. Representation was the fight for black people to have a right to vote, which means I'm a citizen and I deserve the right like anybody else. You're not promised that your candidate is going to win. You're not promised that you're always going to live in a district that benefits you. It's unconstitutional for people to make redistricting decisions based on race. The joke's on you. You were stupid enough to buy into racism that benefited your race. And now when it's called to the carpet for the men and women who died for the right, now things get overturned and you bad. When it's exactly what our forefathers fought for. They didn't fight for black people to have an advantage. They fought for black people to have an equal right. And I don't understand how Bakari Sellers just sounds so stupid when Kevin O'Leary is just schooling him. Now, play the next clip. Hold on, before you play it. Here are two black people. Let's see what they have to, we know Bakari Sellers is stupid. Let's see what the other black person has to say if she speaks in this clip. Roll the clip.
If somebody fell asleep in 1896 and woke up today in 2026, they would simply say the only difference is now Negroes have a TV show and we wear nice suits. They swapped out Klan hoods for Brooks Brothers suits. And that is the problem. I mean, Plessy v. Ferguson was 7-1, and it gave birth to 50 years of Jim Crow. What we have with this court right now, what we're seeing is watching people who have fought and died and bled so that we would have access to the ballot box, so that we would have access to our voices being heard in Congress, being ripped away. And I think that there is a casual laughter from people we believe to be our friends on the right who are showing us true colors today, because the most sacred, or one of the most sacred acts you have in the United States of America is the ability to cast a ballot and elect someone and send them to Congress, the State House, or a mayoral seat that represents your interest. And now black folks throughout the South are being silenced. And I don't find that to be a laughing matter.
Lord, if I had 3 prayers that could be answered, one of those prayers would be that black people would wake up. That somehow they'll get their heads out of their rear ends and wake up and stop being a victim. That nut job just said if you were in 1860 something and you woke up today that nothing has changed for black people. Do you know how insanely crazy that is? And if you're going around and you're telling young black men that, and you're promoting that from some of the highest levels of authority, what do you expect black people to do? That's why black people, I'm telling you this, on average, that's why black people will never catch up to white people, on average. It'll never happen. Because you got a person that's sitting in the same room across the table from a white man on CNN, and the host of that show is a black woman. And it's more black people on the show than white people on that show. CNN run by white people. You got your own show, and you still a victim. I was telling Stephen A. about LeBron James. LeBron James is considered one of the most prolific athletes to ever play. He's at one of the highest levels that you can get in athletic professionalism, great reputation, everything. He's a victim. Like, where do we go as black young men to find hope in people that look like us? They've been lying to us about Martin Luther King, I don't know for how long. If you do any level of research, I tell you this, if you want to like Martin Luther King and he could be an idol for you, don't do no research about Martin Luther King. Act like you didn't see it. Just keep believing that Martin Luther King was this pioneer that changed the civil rights movement and did all this other stuff. Don't look at all the prostitution and hookers and orgies and stuff that he was doing. Don't look at his doctrine on Jesus Christ. Don't look at that. Act like you didn't see it. Don't listen to any of the documentation of the people he hung with who were all socialists and communists and literally tried to push communism on the black community. Don't look at none of the fact that he never really preached a sermon, but he was called a reverend, and people acknowledged him as one. but he didn't do nothing to the sort. Didn't run a church, didn't have a church. He was like back then, he's like a celebrity evangelist that didn't teach, didn't preach. There's a lot of things that Martin Luther King, they lied to us about. And it's like all of our heroes that they celebrate are zeros. Have you ever asked yourself why they celebrate Martin Luther King more than they celebrate Malcolm X? Have you heard the stuff Malcolm X used to say? Have you heard the vigilant nature and the isolationist nature of Malcolm X? And when I say isolationist, I don't think at the time, I don't think it was bad for black people to focus on their community. It wasn't a negative. It wasn't a knock. That's why black people behind today, because they were listening to Martin Luther King and ones like that that's saying, please, white man, give us this. White man, please do this for us. White man, why can't we go to school with y'all? Why can't I be? It's like, no. Malcolm X and other more militant black men were like, we don't need, just leave us alone. Let us build our own schools. Stay on your side, we stay on our side, and we're going to make our side great. This is what people have been doing for centuries. White people did it. Mexican people do it today. Asian people do it. Jewish people do it. Arab people do it. Everybody did it, except for black folks. We wanted to be a part of the white man world. And I think that, to be honest, if we would have just done our own thing, eventually, because we're a society of merit, a society of capitalism, eventually those lines would have begun to naturally break down. And when they broke down, black people would have something to fall back on. What happens is they broke down, and then now black people don't have it, they don't own nothing. Communities are falling apart. Gangs breaking out, fatherless homes, because they didn't focus on their own stuff. And today is the same thing. I'm gonna get the Karen Bass a little nasty in a minute. What do we do when we make it? We move out of a black neighborhood. Why? Because it's too dangerous. Why? Because people have passed the point of feeling like you can fix any of it. There are people that live in a black neighborhood that's worth saving, that are gonna do well. They're gonna be great. But the overall community that people want to hold on to is it needs to change, man, or it's gonna become irrelevant. Black people used to be the majority minority. Now we the minority. We're gonna eventually, black people as a people are gonna eventually vote, and it's not gonna count. Can Asian people swing an election? No, they cannot. It's not enough Asian people in America for them to make a significant difference. If white people, Hispanics, and blacks vote, Asians don't have a chance. They can vote 1,000% for somebody and not get a chance. Black people are headed in a rapid direction. Black women voted like 98% for Kamala Harris in the last election, and she got her kicked. That's 98%. Black women will be able to vote this next election 100% for a Democrat and lose an election. That's zero voting power. When at one point you had all of the voting power and all of the leverage. I'm telling you, man, y'all need to change. Let's go to Karen Bass with her nasty. Let's see what she got to say. Well, this is the story of a resurfaced, alleged, I always say alleged. I mean, the guy swear that he's doing it, and it's a story on the news, but I like to say alleged because I don't know, people be doing all kinds of stuff. But it's an alleged leaked phone call that is now resurfaced. And I don't know how anybody who's black, Hispanic, or have common sense at all will vote for Karen Bass. She's a complete, absolute, abject failure. All right, let's roll the clip.
All right, new tonight, sharp disagreements over a recorded phone call involving Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass made just days before the Palisades fire. Now, for the first time, the man who recorded it is speaking publicly as the mayor's team pushes back, calling his claims misinformation. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf has both sides.
This is a recorded phone call viewed millions of times this last year, now gaining more views today with John Alley coming forward disagreeing with the mayor over what this whole thing was about. Sharp disagreements over a recorded phone call involving LA Mayor Karen Bass just 3 days before the Palisades fire.
I knew I couldn't write that fast, so I recorded part of it for my own safety and for posterity. I had to do it.
I want to make sure that you are safe. And hopefully you can read in between the lines.
For the first time, John Alley is publicly identifying himself as the man who recorded that controversial call.
If President Biden extends me an invitation, I took it.
It's the president.
This is not yes.
Now coming forward weeks before the primary election. Why is this coming out now?
I think people need to know. They're still asking me why the call. What was my relationship with her?
As a business owner with dozens of properties across LA, Alley says he and the mayor used to talk regularly.
I have a good sense of what's going on the streets, and she relied on me for that.
He says he recorded about 90 seconds of this conversation.
In terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days.
3 days before the Palisades fire.
She called me and told me she was boarding the tarmac.
What was it about this phone call that made you want to start recording?
Her tone.
When I am able to talk, I will be happy to go into great detail.
According to the mayor's team, the phone call wasn't about fire danger, but about law enforcement operations at MacArthur Park, saying the call was keeping constituents updated about important city matters. She's saying that this whole phone call was about law enforcement operations at MacArthur Park.
It was about wind. I warned her of the winds.
The mayor's staff calling that claim misinformation and a conspiracy, adding exploiting people's loss in the Palisades is disgusting and it's a distraction from the recovery and rebuilding.
It was. Fire and wind was part of the conversation. There's no conspiracy. I lost as much as anybody in terms of property and life.
The two very much clearly in disagreement, as well as many people online.
All right, I want to play the clip of him on social media. I think that's 605. Yeah, play the clip. This is the one I saw online of him coming out and kind of explaining a little bit more of why he's frustrated and why he's coming out finally. Roll the clip.
Hi, I'm John Alley, and I wanted to disclose today that I'm the person on the recording with Karen Bass who called me on my cell phone and told me she was boarding the plane that day, January 4th at 12 noon on a Saturday to Ghana. I warned her and advised her of the National Weather Service conditions on winds that were predicted. She said she was still leaving. I lost my parents in the aftermath of the fire. I lost my family home. My parents lost their home. My sister lost her home. Many people died after from the confusion. More than 8, more than 12, right in the Palisades. I told her she explained to me she was going to be gone for 2 working days. I explained that as mayor, she's going to be gone 5 working days. Saturday and Sundays count, and she's in a 24/7 job as mayor. If you have any questions or want to call me, feel free. Thank you.
I want to quickly play that the actual recording. I don't think it's very long, but I want to play the recording so you guys can hear what the fuss is about. Maybe I should have did it earlier, but I need to get through that. Some of you guys probably already heard this, but this is just a little bit of it, and therefore you can make a decision on your own whether you think that the guy's lying or Karen Bass's lying. Roll the clip.
This situation is very dangerous, and I would never do. I will take the criticism before I do a publicity stunt. And frankly, a press conference at this point in time would just be publicity.
I think the neighbors, the property owners,
yeah,
and the residents. I mean, 41,000 people live within a square mile here.
Yeah.
2 families share a 1-bedroom apartment.
But they want to hear that something is going to be done.
They want to know it's recognized. Recognized.
Exactly. But if I have a choice between that and compromising something, I just have to go along with it. It's not my area of expertise. I want to make sure that you are safe. And hopefully you can read in between the lines. But I would just appreciate and it's hard for me to tell you this, but hold tight. You will understand soon.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And when I am able to talk, I will be happy to go into great detail.
Okay. And you've got me on the street, and you're welcome to call me at any time. I'll call you right back.
No problem. And just in terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days. Okay. That's it. And if President Biden extends me an invitation, I took it.
Looks like it's a little more than that, but you know, I don't know what to think about that. When I listen to it, I'm like, that don't sound like they talk about wind, right? But also I don't know the context of the conversation. But I can see it both ways, right? I can see the guy being honest and saying, this is what I heard, and I can also see him being, he won't Pratt to win, right? like I do. And I don't even live in California. I was just at an event with Pratt, and he was. I like what he said, man. He's how does he not win the mayor of L.A.? Like, how does he not win? Is like, you guys have a chance in L.A. to like get over the hump. And I swear, God is my witness, man. If you guys don't get it right, California is gone. L.A. for sure is gone. You're not going to have a chance like this again. You're not going to have a person that has money and fame and reputation, and he actually lost something in the Palisades fire. You're not going to have a person with vigor and momentum and all these memes and stuff. He's social media. You're not going to have this again. And if y'all don't do the right thing and vote for this guy and go out and do ballot harvesting and whatever the case may be, because it's legal. If y'all don't go out and do everything you can to win, I mean, you guys, LA is not gonna ever recover. And if you do the right thing and y'all recover, LA is gonna blow up, and it's gonna be beautiful again. I might even move to LA. 8 years of him being the mayor, things will change. Instantaneously, LA will be safer. They just enforce the law. That's it, and you'll see a big difference. Here is a clip from Karen Bass, kind of like a little AI commercial. I thought it'd be fun. I thought you guys would like to see it. Roll it.
I'm Karen Bass, and I'm running on my accomplishments.
Los Angeles on fire. Mayor nowhere to be found.
We were so prepared for wildfires. I didn't even have to be in the country when the town burned. I've addressed the homeless problem. Now, most of them won't stab you as long as you don't make eye contact. Our climate change policy is so strong, we've brought down energy use in the Palisades by 99%.
That's terrible.
Almost none of the needles in children's playgrounds have AIDS on them. If you like the last 4 years, you're going to love the next 4. Vote Bass.
You know, when I hear her talk, that's the image I see too. So it's not too far from the truth. But all right, I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you stay tuned. I think the Stephen A. Smith interview, we'll be releasing that soon. We'll keep you up to date. You don't want to miss it. For all the members, you'll see it first. And for everybody else, you'll have a chance to see it. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to see it. I think you'll enjoy it. That's all I will say. But for all the members, officer and above, we're going to have post-show clarity. And you guys are going to hear all about some things that I did over the weekend, which was an eventful weekend, multiple states. You name it, I did it. And we're going to talk about it on post-show clarity. All right. Love you guys. God bless America. Hold the phone.